everybody? Welcome to the Slam Dance Podcast. I am Superhero Joe, joined by my fellow co-host Marshall, aka Chiplet6, and my boy Eric, YT Ekis at YT Ekis, and our gracious moderator and supporting dad role is going to be our boy Dopehead Dennis. Thanks for joining us on this crazy comedy / metal / whatever the fuck we want podcast, brought to you by no one, because we are out here doing the damn thing ourselves. What's up, boys? How y'all doing? Everybody good?
What's going on?
Dylan. How's everyone doing? Let's go.
I'm trying to drink. This podcast is going to be just me and the boys venting, getting all of our stress out, having some drinks, and shooting the shit. All right. I'm for the shotgun this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's how we started.
Two beers in, and I need to get there a little bit quicker. But yeah, we wanted to start this podcast just for the sheer fuck of it and just do something different. A lot of us do a lot of different content. A lot of us do a lot of different shit on a regular basis. And I thought it would be a good idea to get everyone together and some of the dumbest people I know and just, whatever. How's it going, babies? What y'all doing?
I'm pretty dumb. Yeah, that's true.
This is going to go terribly. The mayhem.
All right, so I wanted to talk about, because I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but did you guys see Dune?
No, I've
not
seen
yet.
trailers everywhere. It looks
Well,
cool.
fuck me then.
No. By all means, fuck me.
First off, where did you watch it at?
I watched it at home. Yeah, fuck going to a theater. I ain't doing that
what
shit.
app?
That's true.
That's what I meant. What app?
Yeah, HBO Max.
Oh, sick. I got that.
Yeah.
I got that.
No, dude, like it's, and I was talking to some people about it the other day too. I think it's like I'm not obsessed with it or anything, but I really enjoyed it, especially because like most movies nowadays, it's pretty depressing. Like
Yeah.
I have to
Is it?
suppress myself. It is.
It looks
but
very
not, dude,
action-packed.
movies these days.
Oh, okay. I was to say the trailers look
Movies
wild.
these days. Yeah, it's like I have to suppress myself getting excited about these things because it's just such a fucking letdown nowadays. But I went into this like pretty open-minded, and I didn't have my hopes up or anything, so I was like really pleasantly surprised. Also, I never saw the original in I think it was the 80s.
There's
And
an
I pulled up a
original.
clip.
I have no idea what this is.
Yeah.
There's an original.
Well,
This is fucking
it was
Blade Runner.
It was a book. yeah, it was a book, and then they made that film in the 80s, I believe. And God, it's awful. I looked up a scene just to kind of compare, and I watched them fighting with those shields. Do you know what I'm talking about, Dennis? They have like those shields that. Anyway, I was like, okay, well, I'm actually glad that I never saw this fucking movie. So
I know Jason Momoa's in it, and he doesn't have a beard, and like that's daunting and crazy to me in its own right. But like, because I love Jason Momoa, so I was like, all right, I'll go watch this movie just for him. But I've been stuck on other shit too lately too, man. Like it's so hard for me to jump into something brand new. It's weird. I don't know. That's just me.
It's the same with, I mean, it's a little different because I think TV shows have gotten to a point these days where it's like cinema. So I think a lot of people are ready to devote that kind of time. They just want to make sure, because there's so much content out there, that it's worth their time. So I went into this knowing it was a little over 2 hours, and it's not the end of my life if it sucks, because basically everything fucking sucks now. So
that's fair.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it, and I was really fucking surprised at how brilliant it was. And you could tell that the director, like, he was a true fan, and you could see that coming onto the screen. It was fucking gorgeous, and the acting was, of course, just superior. I'm just based off the cast, but I think he did really well at like conveying the story, and it was a beautiful score as well, because Hans Zimmer is attached to it.
I fucking love Hans Zimmer. No, I know Hans Zimmer. I fuck with Hans Zimmer. Can you give me like a little basic like fucking, what do you call it, little cliff notes on the movie? I have no idea what it is, but give me a little summary on something.
I
dude,
hope nobody fucking sees this. There's gonna be some Dune fan out there who's like, no, it's fucking not, dude. That's not how it is.
Fuck.
Okay,
guy.
so brief like synopsis is this kid. He's supposed to be, I think, like 15, somewhere around there. His name's Paul Atreides, and it's kind of like Game of Thrones. Like there's all these separate houses that all hold power in a certain regard. But there's this stuff called spice, and it's on this one planet called Arrakis.
Spice.
I like that shit.
Yeah. No, we don't like spice. That's bad.
Fuck spice. Anyway, it only comes from this one planet called Arrakis, and people have been fighting over it because I guess it helps people navigate through the solar system or some shit like that. Like it gives people a huge advantage, so it's like a really important substance. And from one way or another, I can't remember, but the what the fuck are they called? It's who's Batista. It's his character.
Oh, Dave Bautista. Yeah.
Harkonnens. That's what they're called. That's what their house is. So they have been running the spice exports from that planet for a really long time. And for one reason or another, the Emperor wants Paul Atreides, his house, Atreides. He wants them to go over and start taking over spice production. And I really don't want to give anything away because I got to worry about spoilers too. But it's about that. Also, there's this thing called the Bene Gesserit, which are like witches. It's like a coven of these really fucking intense women who are just smart as shit. And they use this thing called the Voice, which basically makes you do anything they want you to do. Yeah, it gets all deep and guttural. It's fucking terrifying. It's
it almost sounds like it's like a sci-fi medieval thing, kind of.
It is. It's exactly.
It definitely looks like that. Yeah, from like
so
the trailers and a little bit.
I'm invested.
Yeah. It's fire as fuck.
So it's out on HBO Max, and I can go watch it.
Yes, it's in theaters.
I have HBO Max. I might go do that because I watched Mortal Kombat on HBO Max the hour it came out. That was fucking lit. Yeah, Dennis, you and me were like
doing that with like most of the releases.
I want to watch Halloween Kills at some point. I haven't had a chance to yet. I might do that tomorrow after stream. You didn't like it?
I just finished that like the other night.
It's
yeah,
lit.
I really enjoyed it.
So many different opinions all at once. I like it. It's lit. Fuck this.
there's definitely like some aspects of the film that I thought were great, but in total,
it's the true slasher experience, man. Literally everyone.
I heard he squares up with firemen at one point, and I just want to see that part. That's all I really want to see.
For like the sheer amount of bodies he just fucking stacks in that movie. That's what I enjoyed the most.
I heard somebody said he was trying to catch up to Jason on like the all-time kill count because Jason still holds like the kill record like in all of his movies. Well, Jason also has like fucking 50 movies, but Halloween is somewhat close, but Jason has the kill count. I heard that was him trying to catch up to the body count. I was like, word, okay, I will watch it.
Definitely makes sense.
And plus, it was supposed to be the wrap up for the story, right?
No, it's supposed to be another one next year. Yeah, there's gonna be another one.
Fucking me, Jamie Lee Curtis is still gonna be doing this shit.
It was supposed to come out year after year.
Yeah.
So this is a good way we could segue into a topic point. So I have a debate with Tave, my wife. I personally enjoy when some stories can go, further and further. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example that's not super, geeky, like Harry Potter or anything. Like, I'm trying to think of a good movie like fuck brain, where are you at? Let's say Deadpool, okay? Like Deadpool, when it came out, it could have been its own movie and that'd have been it. And then you would never see any more Deadpool. He might have little cameos and stuff in X-Men movies or whatever. But like we got Deadpool 2. And Tavia is not big on sequels or prequels.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. I thought about it. I Am Legend. Like everybody was like, oh, I Am Legend was great on its own. And we could leave it at that. But I personally would love a prequel about Dr. Neville or learning more about his time before he got there. Or a sequel where I got to learn more about his, consequences of everything he did. Like, I love stories going on and on. It's almost like books. Like, you see 12 series books or whatever. Like, I kind of enjoy that kind of thing. What do you guys think about that? I personally fucking love sequels, but Tavia she's not a big fan. She'd rather stories be done, and that's it.
I mean, it just really depends. I agree with
you.
Yeah,
that's what
I don't want a No Country for Old Men Part 2.
Yeah.
Why not? Are you kidding me? That was a fantastic movie. Maybe a new character, or maybe
that's why the movie is so fantastic. The way it ends, it's just it.
What a fucking movie! The coin flip scene.
Right in the middle of his talking about his dream, the movie ends.
I don't know. I mean, it might be easier for comic book movies to do the sequel prequel thing, but I mean, there are like I Am Legend is a great example of like I would love to see a before or an after of the beginning of I Am Legend. Like I would love to see all of that. Like that movie had a lot of depth. Or like, I mean, you could probably go the same way with slasher movies like Scream. Like they're coming out with the new Scream. How many more people can they kill, and how many more ways can they kill them without it getting kind of repetitive and fucking whatever? Does that make? I mean, I might be just a fanboy on certain senses.
That's why Saw fell off, right? Like how many?
Well, that's a good point. Well, their story just got fucking diluted. I feel like how many fucking mind tricks can you play on somebody? And that one was more convoluted. I feel, but like anything else, I feel like could be fine.
I don't know. I think the main point is that it's not up to us. If it makes money, the studio is going to say this made money, we're going to make another one. That one doesn't make money,
And
they
then,
stop making them.
Yeah, and
That's
even
fair.
if they do make another one, you can't really be mad at more content.
No,
And if it doesn't happen, then you can just appreciate what you got.
I'm a big fan of diversifying.
That comes back to your,
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
that comes back to your point, Marshall, is that it depends, because it does matter. If someone's so invested in a storyline and the lore of a certain franchise, it does matter to them, because they're like, fuck no, I don't want this if it's going to be garbage. I don't care how much content it is. If it's going to prime example is Predator 2018. Do you remember that fucking movie?
Yeah.
I'm a huge Predator fan, and that was more content, but it was fucking shit. Like, if you look up the definition of fucking garbage in the dictionary, it's Predator at 2018 right there. It just shat
And the game
on
too was
everything.
ass too, but it's whatever.
It shat on everything that these guys created, in terms of lore for 20 years. It just took a shit on everything.
Yeah.
And it didn't make any fucking money. And
I don't know. Like, you can take Halo's fucking coming out and is so divided now because people want classic trilogies and shit, but new stuff is happening. So, like, I feel like if you want the old stuff, then stick to it, bruh. That's all you. And you can just fucking pretend the new stuff that they're doing doesn't exist.
That's really hard to do when this shit's plastered everywhere, though. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm not I know. I don't want to get anything fucked up here. Like, I'm not saying there's one right way to do things or another. I'm just playing devil's advocate, saying that some crazy hardcore fans of these certain franchises, like, it's just not, they don't care. They don't want more content. They want quality content, and that I do understand. And I understand the other side of the aisle as well. Like, I get what you're saying about prequels and sequels and stuff like that. Of course, like, if one side of me would be super excited about that, especially if it's something that I'm invested in, like Predator or like fucking Blade or Aliens.
I'm so ready for the new Blade, by the way. I'm sorry.
There's
Mahershala Ali's gonna kill it.
Yeah, there's a bunch of shit that I'd be stoked for, but there's some other things where I'm like, okay, like that, I guess, doesn't really need anything else. It's pretty good where it's at. But that comes back to your point again, Marshall. It just depends. Like,
that's fair.
Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. That's never gonna change. But studios will continue to make these films if they make money. Period.
I like it when they diversify the media, like where like the Matrix series, for example. They made the movies. The movies are great, right? And instead of just going into the new one that's coming out, continuity-wise, the games are canon. Like, they are like, the reason why you don't see Morpheus in the new trailer is he died in the last game that came out fucking 15 years ago on like the PlayStation 2, and that's cool to me too. If media was a little bit more like, I mean, nowadays gaming obviously is to a point where a lot of people are playing games, a lot of people are doing this, but like, back then, if you weren't playing the Matrix games, you don't know what happened in the story unless you didn't have YouTube back then either. But I'm all for companies diversifying their media. And like, another good example is like, in some of I keep going back to comics because I'm a fucking nerd, but like in some of the Batman series, a lot of their stories are canon, but they're told through graphic novels. Fucking 300-page books and comics that are huge, or even side stories that are huge, that have all these different variables that may play a part in later movies, or give you a little backstory on whatever. Like, I'm fine with companies doing that, but like, I feel like they should do a little bit more. Like, what is it, like the Uncharted movie is about to come out here soon, and if it's anything like that, I like them being able to go off the games and make a movie and do stuff. But like, I feel like there should be some side story. There should be some exposition for those people like me that want to, learn more. Or I'm a lore whore too. Like, I fucking love reading about shit. Like, on my lunch break or even at work, I have my headphones in and I listen to nerd. I listen to audiobooks, or I listen to like lore things from some of my favorite games, just to fucking consume information. I feel like knowledge is key in a lot. Well,
knowledge of video games.
Knowledge. Well, I mean, I just like knowing shit. Like, I feel like the more you know. Yeah. What are those old cartoons? What was the fucking educational like sing-alongs? You know what I'm talking about? Like, knowledge is power.
That's G.I. Joe.
That's
not kind of
a
full circle moment there, though, Joe, because like what you're talking about, like it brings me right back to Dune, which is like the only negative things that I've heard people saying about it is that it's boring. And I'm like, okay, well, look at the context here. First film, it says part 1. They have to establish all these characters.
Mhm.
I thought it was well paced. I didn't think it was boring for a fucking second. But it comes down to those things. It's like people like us, you know, you and I, we love the lore stuff. We like character
Yeah.
development. It helps us understand things. It helps us appreciate things more. And some people, you know, they're on the opposite side of the spectrum. They just want fucking action and crazy CG shit, or they want, you know, whatever the case may be. They don't appreciate the lore side of things as much as somebody like you or I, you know?
Yeah.
I was just about to say too, because you brought up the PS2 Matrix thing.
Yeah.
And games just aren't made the same anymore. A lot of majority of gamers are casual gamers. And they're
Gamers.
gamers. And they're playing like
Gamers.
they're playing battle royales and shit. You know, they're playing Fortnite.
Yeah.
Warzone.
God.
They're not fucking playing games with stories in them anymore. They're
Yeah,
all
But I
Not
mean,
really.
no, because man, I hate to stop you right there and stump you, but well, Fortnite is probably not the best example, but I'll use Warzone because I did play a good chunk of Warzone before they got real fucked up corporate wise. They did start incorporating a story within their battle royale because their world is so big. It just didn't make sense to put certain characters. So not just like, oh, the season launched, here you go, here's some new characters. There's reasons why those characters are there, and there's reasons why they're in what's it called, Verdansk, the name of the map or whatever. There's reasons why they're doing
the name
it.
of the map,
I
Joe?
played a lot
I
of it,
was
okay?
just about to say, like,
I
this is
played
the
a lot
first
of it
time I'm
before
ever
they got
hearing this
real
shit. You think-
fucking
you
lawsuity,
think
okay?
Anybody else knows about this, bro?
Anyway, hey, it is what it is. I'm a gamer, you know? I'm just
You're
a
a
gamer.
gamer.
I'm a
You're a
gamer right
gamer.
here. Okay, bada bing,
But-
bada boom,
but
goddamn it. Hey.
Bro, the real gamers are shooting people in the face. They don't give a
Anyway,
goddamn
but
about
I'm just
the
saying,
name
like,
of the
you
map.
can see that people are, I mean, even companies, developers or whatever, you can see that there's stories being developed around that stuff. So, I mean, I don't think it's a lost art is what I'm getting at. Like, it's not, stories are still relevant to a certain degree. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not acting like they don't exist. Like,
no,
they
I'm just
exist.
saying,
Like God of War, that was a big hit, and Red Dead.
Yeah.
2 and all
God,
that shit.
I'm so ready for God of War to come to PC. Oh, dude, Eric, you have to stream that. That'll be fucking funny.
Well,
Oh.
we'll see. But I do want to say, like, you guys are bringing up really interesting points right now too, and I think that like that applies to film and TV today. I think that even Alexa, shut the fuck up. I think that like
God.
those kinds of things, no matter what, a studio is going to look at something that has a bunch of lore behind it, right? Like even Lord of the Rings, something that was fully, like I thought was really well fleshed out according to the books, and
Yeah.
they were incredible movies, but even stuff was left out of that. So it only seems to be getting worse nowadays. When studios pick up these films, they focused on certain areas of the story. They
True.
don't care about anything else. They just want to make, and they shove shit down your throat. It's like people talking at you, like giving out plot lines and shit like that because they think you're so fucking stupid that you need somebody to tell you this. They try to dumb it down as much as they can, and I understand why they do that. It's business-wise, it makes sense because they want the movie to do well. They want people to understand what's going on. I get it, but
The average consumer is an idiot.
that's how they see it for sure. And I'm not saying necessarily that they're wrong, but yeah, I think it's interesting. It's very interesting because there's a bunch of stuff that, you know, in like Dune, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter's a bunch of shit that's in the books and in the lore that we never see in movies, and they just try and consolidate shit. And sometimes that can be a good thing, other times not so much. So
Yeah.
I think it's just an interesting point.
I fully agree. That's why I like a lot lately. I've been watching like comedies, like fucking Reno and stupid shit.
I
like that.
fucking love Reno.
Just because the dialogue.
Officer
is just-
Dangles.
Yeah, the dialogue is just so like you have to catch it. You know what I'm saying? Like Letterkenny, like that's a really good one. Where you
I just started watching that, and oh my god, it is pretty fucking funny. I rewatched because for like the millionth time because I fucking loved it. I rewatched How I Met Your Mother because I do think up until the last season where the story kind of fell through a little bit for me. But like the situations the folks get in are really genuinely funny, and the characters you fucking love from season 1. It is funny. I do agree. This shit just works when you can actually when you actually can understand and pick up certain jokes. It's if you follow
Right,
along, it's the best.
exactly. It's satisfying, and then just today's like movies that are like thriller or like just suspense or whatever is supposed to put you on it. Like A24 movies. That's what I'd be hating on lately, just because like every movie they do is like they're supposed to build you up, and the ending is supposed to be fucking crazy, but. How crazy is the ending gonna be if I know every film that they produce is like a cult ending or like a satanic
Or it's
ending?
predictable, and you're like,
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
You're talking about Hereditary and Midsommar, aren't you?
Those are the big ones. Yeah, I don't fucking like those movies. But
Hereditary was
mainly
okay. I didn't hate Hereditary.
I loved Hereditary. Midsommar was garbage though.
That's true.
Hereditary is fine. I mean, it's okay. But like everything that A24 does is always fucking cultist and shit like that. It's really annoying.
I did want to bring up this because you brought up Dune, and it made me want to think about, or it made me think about, fuck you, okay? I am warming up the vocal cords. Dude, I did that shit the other day while I was on FaceTime with Eric, and I was like, hey, listen here, bitch, you didn't hear nothing.
Oh, motherfucker.
I just finished, me and Tavia finished it last Thursday. We finished You, season 3. Have y'all watched that? Have y'all watched You on Netflix?
Just the first season.
Man, something about Netflix, brother.
Well, okay, so Netflix does have some gems because I love The Witcher, and The Witcher's a Netflix series. Suck my dick. That is a fantastic adaptation from the books. I read the books. I have the books upstairs.
I'll just watch it for Henry Cavill. He's a sexy motherfucker.
100%. That's a +1 for me.
I'm comfortable with my sexuality.
You guys should watch You season 3 though, or just You in general. It's a show about a guy that's had a really troubled childhood, right? And all of these women in his life, like his mom, have been with the wrong guy, and they've been abused and this, that, or died or something. So he becomes like obsessive about protecting people, or protecting women rather. And he has like all of these like stalker qualities, and he kills people to protect them. It's really, I would argue that it's kind of comparable to Dexter without the connection to the police that Dexter had, but it's arguably like there's some comparison, and it's really interesting to see like how this dude handles situations. Like in the season 3, there's a situation where man, that'd be a spoiler. There's situations where he has to like, do I kill this person and do this, or do I just lock this person up in this little basement and fucking try to, what do you call it? Frame them for something, or bring up something that they don't want out to the public. And it's really just interesting how he handles situations. That shit has been fucking fantastic. Like me and Tavia have gotten wine drunk watching that. Highly recommend. Great show. And Dennis, if you watch season 1, you love season 2 and 3.
When they try to cancel Crystalia, or they did cancel Crystalia. That's the only reason I know about that show, because he was in the second season.
Yeah, he's in the second season. Yeah. And he had some allegations come out.
Oh yeah.
Who doesn't?
Bruh.
Everybody's just a fucking pedophile.
It's ridiculous.
I saw Crystalia live. He was a funny dude. I like him.
You know what? I'm not a huge fan of stand-up, but my wife and I are definitely on board.
I love stand-up. I'm a big fan of Dave Chappelle. I'm a big fan of like Eddie Murphy's old school stand-up. I'm a big fan of Richard Pryor. I love, because again, it's kind of harping back on what Marshall was saying, like just being able to understand certain jokes, and like going to comedians or something that have like a smart way of telling it is. It's almost rewarding that you understood it. I love that kind of thing too.
That's fair. I think a lot of people, subscribe to that same belief system too, because stand-up has always been popular, probably always will be popular. But for somebody like me, like,
sure.
I just don't think like jokes are funny, especially if I know they're not true. Like if you're standing on stage and just
really funny. You're a joker.
You know what I mean?
A game up.
The shit that I find is like if somebody falls in front of me or something, or somebody gets
situational
hurt, or
humor.
It's funny thinking about it.
Exactly. It's like real shit.
Hey, bro, you watch Ridiculousness, don't you?
Ooh, fuck that. No, it's just like stuff that happens legitimately that's real. I find that funny. But when someone's like sitting on stage telling me something that I know is most likely 99% bullshit, it's just hard for me. Even if it's funny and well done and well crafted and well written, it's still hard for me to kind of jump on board with that, because I know it's just horseshit. Which is why I think this important separation for me, because I love TV and cinema so much, mainly cinema, is because it's set to me in a premise that I understand. I had that experience as a young kid, like listening to stand-ups and thinking it was the funniest shit, that these people are just the funniest people on the planet. And then I figured out that these are jokes that people wrote. This is not real life experiences that these people had. And I just got a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, that just makes everything not funny to me.
The way that you say that though, because they write it out, it's like what Joseph said, is very satisfying seeing how they write come all the way around like a
Mhm.
song.
Yeah.
Comedy and stand up and music is
It's
lot.
for sure an art form. Like I
Oh,
have
yeah.
no debate there.
You just have a taste
And
for the different art. That's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just and
Yeah,
like I
that-
said, it's not all stand-ups. Like some stand-ups, like Chris D'Elia and Dave Chappelle, and even some of like Tom Segura's shit. Like I can get behind some of
Yeah.
that stuff. It's fun. I get it. I understand. It's an art form. It's really hard to fucking. I can't imagine writing a joke like that, like you were saying,
It's-
Marshall. That comes full circle. It's a performance.
It's
Oh.
honestly probably the hardest thing you can perform, to be honest.
I don't know about that, but it's,
What would you
it's
say is the
hard.
counter?
Like,
I want to
yeah.
know. What would you say is the counter?
What would I say is a counter? This is the hardest thing to perform.
Yeah, I just out of curiosity.
Oh shit.
Probably
don't-
juggling swords or some shit.
Yeah, like if you're there was this one thing I saw. I can't remember what it was called, and if I say the name, I'll probably somebody's gonna say that's racist. I think it was like Shaolin monks or something like that, like some crazy fucking play that was going on in my town. I went to see that. They were stacking chairs like 80 feet high, fucking standing on spears and shit. It was the craziest fucking thing I think I've ever seen. But
So
that's
some physicality involved. Okay, fair.
Sure, but it's entirely different. Like I wouldn't correlate the two. I just think that basically every art form, if you're doing it live, there's so many factors that go into it that make it difficult. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that one thing's harder than the other. It's just my experiences with stand up, and I've seen it live. Like Lewis Black, I saw him live. I saw
I
Ron White
love
live.
Lewis Black.
Incredible.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I love him.
incredible. Like it was awesome. But still, there's a part of me that's like I can laugh and you know.
He's a smart,
try and
funny
get
man,
into it.
Lewis Black. His shit
Yeah.
is so fucking like you're like, wow, I feel like I learned something and laughed really fucking hard in the process. That's lit.
Yeah.
And then Ron White is on the other side of the spectrum.
Oh, God.
Stupid as shit.
Yeah.
You know you're a redneck when no.
So I do understand the appeal. I do, and I know that my opinion will be far outside the majority's.
It's fine.
I do
So,
get that.
I
but
do
that's
wanna
just
ask,
my
though,
experience with it.
because you've brought cinema up, and again, we're all, you know, for those listeners that don't know, like I'm friends with Marshall, and Marshall lives in my town, and we kick it on a regular basis. But I'm still learning a lot. Marshall, I wouldn't consider like I know everything about him. He's a brother to me, but like I'm still learning about him. And then Eric is a new friend that I've been learning about over the past couple months, and so is Dennis. So I'm just curiosity has just gotten me tonight. You keep bringing up cinema, and I know how much of a fan. What would you say is your gold standard? Like, what's your go-to movie when you want to just fucking, this is my movie? Like, I mean, I could tell you mine, and you might judge me because I brought it up already, but mine's I Am Legend. I think that's like cinema, like from the
judges first.
yeah, it's fine. I Am Legend for me is like the fucking. I was like 14 when I saw the movie and was just bawling in the fucking theater, and not even just the dog scene, but just the whole sheer fact of being alone, the going crazy. What would you do in that situation? You know, like that. I Am Legend is like peak cinema to me. It's beautiful, it's scary, and there's a little bit of a.
It's a butthole.
It's got a
clencher for sure.
little bit of everything in there, and not too much of everything. You know, it's just enough to get you curious. And again, bring it back. I want to know more about the universe. I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, Eric, I want to know, like, what's your gold standard for, like, you know, fucking movies? You know?
It's a good question, and I think that anybody who's like invested in cinema, as invested in cinema as I am, will tell you that that's too hard of a question. If I had to answer that, I would have to break it down by genre and subgenre.
What's your favorite genre then? Hit me with that.
Favorite genre,
And then
That's
give me the
another
movie.
difficult one,
It's
but
why?
ones that had like, you know, a big impact on me as a kid were definitely monster flicks. If you couldn't,
Okay. Oh yeah.
So-
I feel that.
So I was born in 95. So I grew up with like,
Same.
you know, and thankfully my dad showed me, you know, all the fucking 80s badass shit. But the stuff that I grew up on was like American Werewolf in London. I grew up on Gremlins. I grew up on Men in Black, the Alien, the crazy shit that Rick Baker did in that movie. I'll never fucking forget.
Pause
Amazing.
real quick. I think for like the first 2 months of Stella's life, I called her Gizmo. I was like, bright light.
Yeah, like those movies for me, it's just a nostalgia thing, and I will always have like a tremendous amount of appreciation for those films. But then you could go to like the opposite end of the spectrum and talk about like art house movies, and for me, like one that always comes to mind is Little Miss Sunshine.
Wow.
I don't know if any of you guys have seen that.
I've seen it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, I thought
Fantastic
that
movie.
film was fucking beautiful. Everything about it, from the cinematography to the writing to the performances to the whole storyline, it's it's not something you would expect. And if you go into it blind, it's gonna, it was one of the best movies that I've ever seen.
I hit you with one.
That was like
George Romero's black and white, like Night of the Living Dead. Fucking
69. Yeah, that changed the game for horror, dude. Like nobody had ever made a film like that. I still get
scared watching that fucking movie. I'm 26 years old. That movie is fucking beautiful, though.
As a horror fan, that really tickles my pickle that you talk about that movie in such high regard.
I have it on Blu-ray sitting over here. I am ready to go.
Dude, in 69, bro, he changed the fucking game. After that, we got Last House on the Left, Exorcist, Halloween, all these fucking giant movies.
Yeah.
Horror forever. And George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead was in 69. That changed the fucking game for everybody. Before that, it was Universal monsters and black and white shit and stuff like that, which is still amazing. But he really, with that one film, changed everything. It was a pinnacle moment in history.
I want to come back to that, but Marshall, I want to know what. Oh, sorry, Marshall, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna say, I want to know.
Growing up in '69, where that released and Black Sabbath was around.
Oh, for fuck's sake, dude! Like I swoon at the idea. I really do. If I could have been waiting in line to go see The Exorcist, like.
100%.
I could literally die right fucking now and just be the most ecstatic person on planet Earth. Like I really envy my parents for living through that time period.
I argue with my mom all the time. They're like, man, I should have been born in the 70s. Like, what the fuck were y'all doing? Marshall, I want to know what's your like go-to movie? Like, what do you think is like, oh, this is the jam that I could watch all the time and have a good time?
Cinema, y'all are both wrong. Peak cinema is Forrest Gump.
I swear to fucking God.
Forrest fucking Gump, dude.
Shout out Forrest Gump.
Top god tier film, dude.
But
right
why?
Under it, Radio.
Okay, Radio. I love that movie. That's a great fucking movie.
Why Forrest Gump? Because it's long.
Don't say Tom Hanks.
And it never gets old. Dude, I love every part of that movie. Every part of that movie is so golden.
That's one area where I differ from most people who like the cinema shit, who get really deep into it, is that most people, because that movie has become such a cliche and stuff like that, most people who are so invested in cinema, they just poo-poo it. But I'm with you, Marshall. I fucking love
that movie.
Forrest Gump.
Gorgeous.
I don't think it's the best
great movie.
Of all time,
no,
but I think
yeah,
it's fucking up there. It's up there. It's so good.
Good Will Hunting. No.
Very fucking beginning where the feather is falling down and he's like pointing at the shoes. You can tell a lot about somebody.
What? All right. So, how do you guys feel about Napoleon Dynamite?
Okay. This is gonna bring me back to the argument. Why have I not gotten a Napoleon Dynamite 2, bruh? I want to know more about Napoleon. I want more. No. No. That movie.
That was pretty satisfying on itself.
Tina, you fat lard, eat the food.
Dude, as soon as I saw the opening credits were food, I was like, this is it.
I mean, it's like a grainy looking film. It looks like somebody recorded it on like they're like, grainy fucking old school. It's grainy. It's old school looking. It's beautiful.
Every time I watch it, I like appreciate it more and more. Like I noticed something.
I love the soundtrack in that movie so fucking much, dude. Like, I mean, not even the characters obviously I love them and how outlandishly funny it can be, but like how it like I love when games do this, but also I really love it when movies don't take themselves fucking seriously and they just kind of have fucking fun. Me and Eric talked about this the other night. Like people just don't want to do shit for fun anymore. It's just all gotta be fucking go to serious. Yeah,
professional.
So like I love it when like Devil May Cry. I don't know if any of y'all ever played Devil May Cry. That game knows it's a shit show, so they harp on all of the comedy tropes and they let you have the fun of doing whatever. And it's the same thing with movies. Like Napoleon Dynamite knows it's a fucking goofy movie and does everything that you want it to do and then surprises you. Fantastic. Yeah. I want a second one. Fuck y'all.
No, I was just going to ask, because you guys are talking about prequels and sequels and how you felt about them. I was going to ask how you guys felt about remakes.
Great question.
As far as like...
just in general?
Well, I guess like both, like movies mainly, because you guys are talking about cinemas, but you guys are also talking about games. So like, I don't know, like remastered editions or whatever games or whatever.
I hate it. I mean, I don't hate it. I like some life being breathed into a dying franchise. For example, like the last Friday the 13th movie, I think came out in like 2013 or something like that.
2012,
something like that. Yeah, like that one was fun to watch, but
I think.
Okay. Mr. Horror Film Man. Anyway, but I enjoyed it. Like I was like, oh, this is fun to watch, but like it was nothing new. Like there was no, it's just, oh, Jason's here, y'all better run. And then they kill Trey Songz in the movie. It's really funny. But that's like it.
He was running instead of walking.
Yeah, like if I see Jason running, it's a wrap.
What I was saying before is even more so now. Like where I was saying, like you could either enjoy it or just pretend it doesn't exist. Like for instance, like the biggest example I could think of is the Resident Evil 2 and RE2 remake. It's like the biggest jump ever from like gameplay to graphics and everything.
So much fucking fun.
I think it's totally necessary. Like RE2 on the PS1 can suck my dick forever. RE2 remake is beautiful. It's an amazing game.
I'm in there.
And same thing for movies too, because like you got something like King Kong or something that they just can't do well, and the new King Kong got Jack Black in it, so it's good.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they made a video game out of it. It was ass. It was ass for the 360. You know it. Don't you even start. It was ass. It was a launch title. It was ass. All launch titles are ass.
I had it for PlayStation, so I enjoyed it on PlayStation. But yeah, I don't know.
I actually had it on GameCube. I was a peasant.
Man, but I think remakes have a place if the series honestly needed like some, new life. Like Friday the 13th at the time when it came out, I was like, oh, this is cool. I mean, again, I enjoyed it, but like I was not like, oh, this is the greatest slasher of all time. I was like, oh, it's whatever. But like it wasn't nothing. It did nothing to breathe new life into the series, I guess. Like there was no new way to kill people. There was it was the same shit. But like if you look at something like, I guess you can use Scream as an example. Like it's not really a remake, but it's like they're redoing the story almost. Like they're bringing back old characters and stuff. Like there's things about it that have that remake quality, but like I mean, I don't know. It's kind of tough because I have to agree with Marshall and be like, it just depends. Like if the series needs it or not.
Necessarily depends. I think what it is like if what they are recreating, if the original piece is standing the test of time, then don't fucking touch it. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
If it's fucking getting dated and old as shit, then revive it.
Might be a reason why Creature of the Black Lagoon has not gotten a remake. It's good where it's at, fam.
Exactly.
I think both of your points are very interesting. I just think it's important to note that like remakes, and I'm not defending them by any means. I want to make that very clear. But
you're going out and saying you don't like them?
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that they've always been a part of cinema. So like the movies that we think, I think The Thing is probably a great example. So The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, which was in the 70s or early 80s, I can't remember.
I think it was 80s.
Was it 80s?
It might have been 80s.
Late 70s, maybe early 80s.
I could be wrong.
It's fuzzy for me. But that was a remake of The Thing from Another World, which is a completely different film. It was like an old monster flick, guy in a suit, shit like that. And Carpenter took it to a whole new level with these fucking crazy ass monsters that Rob Bottin created. He was the effects guy on that film. And still today, it's beloved by all horror nerds. But at the time, I think it's also very interesting. People fucking hated it. Absolutely hated it. It's the same with Halloween. Like it was very divided. People were like,
super
what the fuck
different.
Is this garbage?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those old films that we hold in such high regard nowadays were shit on when they first came out. So the remake thing, I think it's just always been a part of cinema, and the way the studios look at it, like I said, it's a money thing. If it's a franchise, it's a name that people identify with, and it will get people into the theater. Not only that, but it will they're hoping that it'll reinvigorate this machine for the younger audiences and the younger generations who may have never heard of these characters before. They're hoping that will jumpstart, some desire from these people.
Quick question.
To move forward.
One remake and it does well, you can expect that franchise to continue.
True.
Right.
Quick question. Eric, are you wearing shorts?
I am wearing shorts.
I've never seen your legs.
Never seen my legs, baby?
You're tatted on the legs too.
You like that?
Oh,
you like that?
Save it for the Patreon. Yeah, you're right.
I got it.
It's like, is that a kneecap? Oh my god. Oh lord.
Don't make me show you my feet.
Oh, sweet Jesus, wiki feet. All Let's switch gears a little bit. I love movies in the sense that like that we get to. There's so many different ways we can go about movies, and we'll kind of switch it up and switch gears a little bit. But I want to talk about gaming a little bit, just because I feel like we're in that like what do you call it? A little dead period with gaming, where there's just not shit to play, or there's not enough of stuff to sustain. I guess like for me personally, I play Destiny a lot, and I know I've maybe mentioned it to a lot of you guys plenty of times, and people that watch this video will be like, oh fuck, here we go again. But that's been like the only live service game that's been able to keep my attention for the most part. And I'll play Apex, and I'll play a lot of other games that kind of really will, that are fun to play and fun to play with friends. But like there hasn't been anything to really get me engaged in a long time, and I'm honestly excited for the new year because I feel like 2022 is going to be the big new era for gaming, I guess. Like not anything crazy with technology. Yeah, I feel like there's just gonna be a lot to do come the new year. Like not even with just December with Halo. I feel like gaming is in that point right now where like the bar is getting higher and higher. I mean, what do you guys think about like just gaming just changing radically over the last like fucking 10 years? It's been from the 360 to now. Like I feel like gaming is just on a whole new level. I could not have imagined being on a PC fucking playing video games nowadays. I could be crazy.
Remember us growing up playing video games. We all grew up in the 90s. We wasn't in the Atari days.
True.
Even people like that, like video games have advanced so much in just 20 years. People are still trying to figure that shit out. So honestly, in my opinion, I feel like the industry is still a little stagnant. Ubisoft
really
is still making shit ass fucking war, like open world shit. They still think attacking bases and pushing the X is fun. It's not.
No, I mean they did switch up the formula with Rainbow Six. I'm not gonna lie, Rainbow Six is still holding down like the esports like setup. Like Rainbow Six, like the R6 League is fucking very dominant and present.
I feel like game developers back in the day knew how to make a game fun way more than they do now.
I mean, but
I feel like they got all this technology and they're like, fuck, how do we make this fun?
Well, question your nostalgia in that point. Like, you've got to question your nostalgia at that point. Like, was it really fun, or was it like you was eating Doritos and drinking Mountain Dew playing some shit at like 3 a.m.? Like, let's be real, okay? Because we've all been there.
No, this shit is garbage. This shit is
But why?
Like I said, they just don't know how to make. They have all this technology and don't know how to make fun mechanics.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Well, okay, I could argue. Well, I want to get Eric's opinion on that really quick, and then I'll harp into my thing. Like, Eric, where do you feel like? Do you feel like gaming is on the rise, or do you feel like it's stagnant, like Marshall said?
I'm fighting internally with myself.
Well, because you're kind of outside of the spectrum a little bit, because you're not heavy into it.
A lot of it.
Oh, yeah. I'm just being nice. No. Okay.
I grew up maybe like once every few months going over to a friend's house and they have, Halo or Grand Theft Auto or something like that loaded up and I play it. But I've never ever been a gamer. I've never been that dude who, like, I told you that story the other day. My mom constantly tells me, hey, I remember when you used to hide the GameCube when your friends came over for sleepovers because you knew that they would just do that all night and you wanted to go outside and fucking break shit. Like, yeah, that sounds like me. So yeah, I've just never been. Yeah, I know. Like I've never been that kid or person. I'm trying to get more into it. Like there was 2 games for me, and I think you know this, Joe, but Titanfall 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
great game.
And the very, very beginning of Apex. Also Halo when I was a bit younger, but I never got super into it. Oh, that's a lie. Okay, there's like 4 games. Modern Warfare 2. I remember getting pretty into that when I was
okay. I was gonna ask, like, man, what was Titanfall 2 like for you, to where you were like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna play some video games. But like,
no,
if you said Modern Warfare 2,
into it, bro.
I understand.
I was fucking in it.
That campaign was fucking glorious. I really hope we get a Titanfall 3. Sorry, go on.
It was alarming how much I was into that game. But yeah, that's like those were the only ones, and that was much later in my life. So I can't really relate to any of you guys, growing up with video games and stuff, because it wasn't something that I experienced.
Well, you've seen the market. You've seen you pay attention to the landscape, rather. I mean, you're a content creator. You kind of it's like a weird innate sense to be like, oh, people are doing this now. I mean, you've been on YouTube, you've been on Twitch, you know,
sure,
you see what people are on.
A bit.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, I mean, you can make Fortnite jokes. That's pretty much the standard nowadays. Like, I feel like you have an idea of like, okay, I feel like gaming's going in this direction, gaming's going in that direction, yada, yada, yada. But like, to me, it's more or less like, I feel like the industry, I agree with Marshall, like right now it's stagnant. Like the peak for a while was like, oh, Cyberpunk is going to be the shit. And it wasn't necessary. It was a good game and had a lot of good qualities. They just didn't execute it the way they should have. And I played all of it. I know all of it. I've done everything. You can ask Dennis. He watched me do the full 24-hour stream, damn near 18-hour stream. Don't yell at me. But I mean, you know, there's nothing that's extremely like I love VR. I think VR is where it is climbing. I think VR is going to get more in like the Valve Index, for example. Like, I don't know if you guys know about that. Like, gaming's only going to get more and more open. So, like, who's to say in the next 10 years we're not actually using an entire room dedicated to our gaming setup, like a VR room or whatever, or you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing. Like, VR headsets are already kind of, I say, like an arcadey experience.
True.
You're not going to be spending. It's much easier to spend 7 hours right here in my chair, mouse and keyboard, fucking gaming it up. I'm not gonna be wearing a headset for 7 hours. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. But what if in the next 10 years though you don't need the headset? What if you just walk into a room and it's like a little hollow room? You flip a switch, you're gaming. You're the Master Chief.
The point is still made because I still want to sit in my chair and play mouse and keyboard. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that gaming setup will ever die, or do you think it'll always be prevalent to a certain degree? The whole couch gameplay shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll change up, but it'll always be your couch and your TV.
You don't think you're gonna have a Connect?
I understand both of your guys' points. And I just want to reiterate that I don't know shit about shit when it comes to this shit. But the Wii, wasn't that supposed to be like some game-changing thing? Remember when that shit came out?
I ain't gonna lie, it kind of was for a minute.
Think about how accessible it was. All it was just a controller.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was a more like interactive thing, and people still chose, like Marshall was saying, to go back to their comfort zone and something that they're familiar with. And even though gaming was nowhere near where it is today, it's still kind of like a similar situation.
But at some point, it's gonna switch. We're gonna be the old people playing the fucking Wii, and the kids are gonna be in the hollow rooms. I'm telling you, watch out.
What Eric said was, you know, he didn't grow up playing video games, and he picked up Titanfall 2 as like a dive into video games. Well, I kind of feel like that's the reason why video games are stagnant. It's increasing in quality, but it's doing the same things because new people are coming in and experiencing it for the first time. While we're just like, man, we've been doing this shit for fucking 20 years.
That's fair.
It's it's really hard to like, especially shooters. Like, how do you change it up? You push mouse 1 and you win the game. It's awesome.
That's true. And, you know, I'd argue that is probably the best argument you could make in such a case. Is like we're doing the same shit while everybody else is either learning or, you know, like I said, gaming is becoming the thing where it's you know, fucking just advanced and crazy.
You said earlier, like, I mean, obviously gaming is becoming way more prominent, and
well, I mean, media is just taking it. I mean, esports is a prime example. Like, you see ESPN covering esports now. It's become a dominant thing. It is it's a thing.
Game's gonna become less accessible. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think they'll ever become less accessible.
Like, yeah, like when are they gonna make a game that's gonna be fucking hard as shit? Like
Dark Souls.
Like so fucking dog shit.
That's the loudest you've been all night.
I think an important like topic of discussion when it comes to this is like the fact that you've in recent years been able to make money off of these things. I think that's played a huge part in why people cover it so often and why you see it and why it's become, you know, such the entity that it is. I think before that, you know, like video games were video games, man. Like it's in a whole new
little joystick
like,
and you're pushing a button.
Yeah, you can fucking not only pay your bills but live an incredibly comfortable lifestyle just from playing video games. And kids see this. Yeah, and they're biting at the ankles to get a piece of this. Like they see this and I think that's a huge part of why video games have
well,
gotten to the point that they are.
influencers is a whole other topic that we can save for another video, because I do think influencers have such pull. I mean, I'd argue that we're all influencers in our own right, but what I'm getting at is sorry, I didn't mean to call you the I word.
That shit out of here, man.
I'm a gamer. I'm a gamer over here.
I get what you're saying, because Doc was watching the fucking campaign trailer and he was like, "Fuck this! This needs a battle royale." But I get where he's coming from, because if he's gonna want to pull viewers are gonna want to watch battle royale.
Yeah, that whole topic is well worth a whole video, I feel, because influencers have a whole spectrum of wrongs and rights, in my opinion. And I've told Eric a few of them before, and he's told me a few of his, and I'm pretty sure you've told me a couple of yours before, Marshall. But like, as far as like just gaming as a whole, I do feel like we're going in a direction where it's almost like with our parents and like cell phones. They had to learn and they had to adapt. They had to get used to the way technology is now. And I think that maybe not next year. Well, I won't say next year, but in the next 5 to 10 years, gaming is going to get to a point where it's not mouse and keyboard, where it's not controller. You're gonna have more intuitive, interactive, lifestyle altering things happen to you that you'll be able to get into. And I 100% believe, because if you look at all the data, like Facebook is getting heavy into gaming, Apple's getting heavy. Some of the big giants, Google, everybody is trying to get into gaming because they have the money. I mean, they don't have the fucking talent just yet, because you've seen Stadia. Stadia is still dog shit, but they're getting into the market, and that market is very much open. Just because you're Activision or whoever, you don't dominate that market. The minute these big boys get into the market, the money pool goes from 10 million to 10 billion, the game is gonna fucking change. We're gonna see just gaming go in a crazy direction here soon. And I feel like it's gonna get, my PC's not gonna be shit. It's gonna be, hey, you need a hollow room, you need a spaceship. It's gonna get there.
I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think as far as accessibility, as like you don't need my PC or your Joe's PCs.
PCs, you heard that? PCs. I'm gaming out here.
PCs are fucking gaming right now. But I think in like 10 years is what really is gonna take over is streaming video games. Just like how Netflix, Hulu, and all that stuff.
Ooh.
I think that's what's gonna take over with accessibility. Like, you don't need to spend $1,000 on.
Maybe you could interact with the streamers and gain your own, like have like a own separate like level up thing going on from the stream. That'd be cool. That'd be crazy, but cool. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to talk about that a little bit too.
I know for a fact, like probably like 5 years from now, that there's gonna be apps on our like TVs, PCs, whatever you're gonna use, where it's just gonna have like a mainframe somewhere where they're running games with RTXs and shit like that, and they're just gonna stream it to your fucking Wi-Fi, and it's gonna be solid too, because they're gonna work on it. They're gonna have like fiber and all that shit, because they have it now. It's just butt ass. It's just delay and shit like that. It doesn't work.
Your wordplay is my favorite. Butt ass, ass dick. My fucking favorite. I don't know. I feel like gaming's going in. I don't think any of this is bad. I think gaming is going in a good direction. And I've been to counter Eric earlier, like I've been growing up playing games. I had an N64, Sega Genesis, all that stuff. I mean, the first game I ever played was Mortal Kombat. And I remember being a kid and going to arcades on the weekends and playing games with my friends and shit talking and doing all that stuff that I do now, but in a smaller space, one-on-one.
My first game was Street Fighter 2. Were you on Super Nintendo?
No, I was actually, the first time I ever played it was on the Sega Dreamcast. I played Mortal Kombat. Because I remember like all-nighting trying to get through the hardest tower in Mortal Kombat, trying to beat Shao Kahn. And I remember fucking raging the entire time. Oh, yeah. Terrible time, but it was great. But yeah, I mean, going back to that, like I just, it's gone from that to where we are now. It just blows my mind. And like I said, with all this money kind of harping on Eric, like things are making money and it's only going to get crazier and it's only going to get more and more, I mean, if you look at the era down there in 2008, 2009 with the Kinect and the Wii, like you were talking about, like they were really trying to push the boundaries with motion detection and motion sensors. Like, they were really trying to push that. And they dropped it, obviously, but like, it has a resurgence with VR. I mean, PlayStation's VR, and then you have Valve getting involved, and I'm telling you, like, it's only gonna get crazier.
That they're going in, like Nintendo dropped the Wii motion control and stuff like that for the Switch for something that's portable, and Valve is going for something like the Steam Deck. They're going for something portable. They're all going for something accessible. So
Yeah,
they're gonna get as many customers as they can by making it accessible. And then they're gonna be worried about making something quality.
I agree. They're just trying to cash in on their customers, and then it's gonna change. And like right now, this is the era of accessibility, and then we're gonna have an era of full on, body tracking. Like, oh my god, you gonna be a gamer? I'm gonna show you how to be a gamer. God damn it, Eric. I mean, I want to know because again, like. Because you're not a big gamer, and I want to know, and Dennis, you can harp on this too if you want, but I want to know, like, does any of this like scare you? Does it excite you? Does it, when you think about like how gaming is changing and where it's going, like, do you think that like this is something I want to dive into as a adult, male, like, or do I want to like, this is kind of crazy. Do I want to
just assume my gender?
I did. No, I saw a kneecap. I knew the gender. Easy.
Yeah. Well, it's a good question because there's part of me that's like really hesitant and just basically indifferent on the subject because that's my primal instinct when it comes to this. But on the other hand, like with what I'm trying to do is as far as career wise, like whether I like it or not, like I depend on this shit. Like if gaming goes out and people don't like it, just not saying that's going to happen, that's going to affect me negatively with what I'm trying to do, for my career. Like I want to do Twitch. Even though what I do is not revolved around gaming, Twitch is. And these platforms that I use and a lot of things that have an impact on what I do revolve around gaming. So there's that other part of me is, yes, I want things to move forward. Yes, I want this to get more popular. And I want it to progress. Where I think it's going, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. But I think it's only upwards from here just because, especially like, the younger generation, not necessarily us, we kind of dipped our toes into it and are progressive, more getting deeper into the water, so to speak. But I think that these Gen Z kids, like, they took this shit to a whole nother level. Like they're controlling the market right now. And for the next like 10 or so years, they're going to be the ones who are primarily controlling things regarding this topic. So I think with them, like they're only going to move forward with this. There's no backing up now. Everybody's invested in it. So I think that, it should all be positive things, moving forward, or just, it's the building block thing. I think these kids are just going to keep putting blocks on blocks on blocks because they're obsessed with this shit. And like I said, the money thing has something huge to do with it because, and I wasn't necessarily, talking about influencers. I think that's what happens after. I think how you get to influencers is the most important thing. And it's because these people want to do this shit. Like you talk to your parents about kids watching streamers. You're like, wait a fucking second. Your parents are like, there's people on the internet watching somebody else play a video game.
I was like that guy. I was that guy.
At first, I think I was too.
Watch me play video games. I'm just fucking gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it boggles their fucking minds. And it's honestly hilarious to see that reaction just because we've had such a good experience with it. And these Gen Z kids, like, they're going to have such a different experience with it as well. And I think that, from this point on, it's only going to get crazier and crazier.
I'm with it. Dennis, do you want to add to it?
I'm excited for sure.
I definitely just see it only going really forward from now with like all the upgrades they're doing to every console and how like everything's getting sold out. Like as soon as everything's getting like pushed out, it's just getting like grabbed immediately.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's fair.
Plus, I think like I don't want to get into a whole nother realm of discussion, but I think that real world shit has something to do with that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a whole thing about that too that I would love to talk about. I'll save for another episode. But I do have this crazy story. This crazy story that I want to tell you guys next time on the Slam Nest. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video.